Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to yet another iRacing video. And this time around, we're going to be driving the Formula C series. So that is the Lara Formula 3 car. This time around, we are at Zandvoort, obviously located in the Netherlands. A track that I have visited a couple times before. It's a lovely track in the dunes, quite near the sea. And as you can see, we are starting the race in P11. It's not a great start for the driver ahead of us, and there's already big contact there. Before you know it, we are off, and that is a massive hit already. You could just see how chaotic the start is right there. Somebody didn't start off well when we come to a halt, and well, there it is. Already the confirmation that we cannot actually finish in the lap, and that's just the end of the race right there. Yeah, that's how we go sometimes. Very chaotic, and quite a shame to see it go that way. In the end, not doing us any favors, of course, when it comes to the standings, of course. So, yeah, we just have to take it for what it's worth, but not much else that we could do about it. But let's watch the highlights of the race, because, well, we weren't the only driver on the grid, of course, and this race still ended up being fairly spectacular. Already you can see the contacts behind us, so many cars flying up into the air. The driver number 3 luckily able to avoid it. That is Janusz Sanecki. And actually is able to make it through the first corner rather nicely. It's definitely a chaotic start. And yeah, here you can just see how it looked like from some of the cars that started. Here's the start from us. Yeah, already chaotic and just nothing we can do. We're just getting rammed into, and then afterwards it's just the end of the race already, yeah. Tire even came loose, and that is just, well, one way to end your race, I suppose. There were more contacts. Here is the number 14 car, Pavel Majoris, and he tries to avoid the majority of it, but then unfortunately crashes into us later on. Here is the number 2 driver, Leo Whitewick, trying to come around. A little bit of contact with Janusz Sanecki. So not the cleanest of overtake, but eventually it does make it by. Later on we see more, but oh, there is a driver going off right there. That is the driver that was in number 3. Conor R. Davies finds himself spinning and just not able to keep the car going in the right direction. That's quite a shame, I have to say. Here is Pavel Moyos in the black and red car, trying to make the most out of this still. We're aboard with a little bit later on. Once again. Oh, that is quite the moment there. Once again, coming into basically one of the tightest corners around here. It's a very long left-hander afterwards. In the end, they do make it work, but it's chaotic. Nevertheless here. Now we see that everyone eventually makes it through the first lap here. Here is the number 14 and loses control, and well, yeah, how do you get out of there? Yeah, you're basically in the middle of the racing line. Some drivers have to take evasive action. He loses his spoiler and eventually, well, finds himself with some worn tires and not really facing the right direction. Eventually he got it going though. But yeah, the car just doesn't want to go anywhere without that rear downforce. Quite a shame. Eventually finds himself facing the right way again, but that car is basically toast, and he's able to eventually make it back to the pits. But he loses a lot of time. Here is Jeremy Piazza, close with Edgar Hernandez, and there's contact between the two. It was Edgar Hernandez there that just about slightly touched him. Piazza now has to rejoin the track, which is easier said than done, of course, but eventually makes it back on. All the gravel on the tires, that's not going to scatter onto the road, so that will definitely not do the drivers any favors. Here we see Edgar Hernandez again, this time being chased. Here's the inside send, but there's just no space for it. Door gets shot, and on these kind of cars you can just see how incredibly fragile they are. It's just not a good look, I have to say. Quite a shame though. Eventually they both were able to continue the race, but damage done and also losing a lot of time. Definitely not their greatest look, I have to admit. Things have looked better for them. Here's the number 4 car, Momeni. Being chased by Pedro Perez Jaraba. The guy we just saw having contact is now trying to make his way into the first corner ahead, and he will be able to do so. So it's a good move coming out right there. Makes it work, and that is quite the position gained there. Here's the number 7 car coming up to the same as Momeni. Trying to make it work around the inside first, but no, not able to do so. Then we'll have to chase just a little bit longer, but this is basically all full throttle Eventually we'll be able to go side by side and passes him before the braking zone into the downhill corner. So well done right there. Here's once again, good battle we're seeing. Is once again Pedro Perez-Jaraba. This time making his way by David New, the number 20 car. That's quite the move right there. Conor Moore Davies trying to chase Matthias Werner. They're in similar liveries. I think they might be entirely identical. Here comes that move around the outside, and obviously inspired by some classic Formula 1 cars. They look absolutely stunning, I have to say. The overtake successful. A little bit later on, we see the number 7 again. Getting involved into this one. So far, all is good here. There comes the inside sent by the number 7. Edgar Hernandez makes it work. It was Alec Antwerp who missed his braking point for turn 1. Quite a shame, but that's happening sometimes. Here's another send. Quite a beautiful one, but had just so much of a pace difference. So you can see that. Here's the number 10. Just about makes it through nicely. And ooh, that's a little bit of a mistake, it looks like. Now we might see him having to take some evasive action. He's hit the wall slightly. Now he'll lose some positions as a result of it. Quite a shame though. Has to drive it very carefully through the banking of Zandvoort. This is only where you see just how much banking this circuit really has. At the last turn you can really see it. Which makes this circuit, in my opinion, really awesome. Here we see the number 13 car of Leonardo F. Gonçalves, and he just about hits the curb. So you can actually take a little bit of curb on this track, but you have to be very careful with them. They do tend to upset the car a little bit, especially when you are in Formula cars. In a car like a GT4, it's a little bit less noticeable. And eventually able to continue the race as if nothing happened, but it's not a good look per se. He's able to continue the race as if nothing happens. Here coming into it again, we see, ooh, what is that then? Is that a connection issue? That was probably one of the weirdest crashes I've seen in a long while. So Jeremy Piazza, if I'm not mistaken, that goes off right there. Another move on the straight here. Who's gonna dare braking earlier into the first corner? Well, so like the red car will have to wait just a little bit here. This is quite a battle that could last just a little bit longer all the way through this. And actually the roof that you see here, that's one you can stand on, not in this game, but IRL, that's a flat one, and you can actually see them basically go all the way around. Okay, well there's the continuation by Jeremy Piazza at least. He's able to get the car going. But now definitely has lost quite a bit of time here, and it's going to be quite a difficult one to recover him, and especially if you then spin out a little bit later too. Keeps it onto the track, surprisingly. I must say that was pretty scary. But he does make it work, just ever so slightly goes off, and well, still hopeful that something might happen here. Two-way battle here. In lap number 9 we are now. This the Aston Martin inspired Formula 3 car misses the braking point, and that will be quite the move there. Goes off. Luckily he's able to keep the car out of any barriers, but misses it quite heavily. And oh, as I say that, he loses control again. Finds himself stuck on the end of the pit line. That is not a position you want to be finding yourselves in. Eventually continues, but has lost quite a few positions. Here's the number 7 of Edgar Hernandez, and well, once again it's the same corner I'm warning you about. He seems to be handling just nice, but then the rear gets loose because he goes a little bit too deep onto the exit of the corner, and that will just be quite a shame, I have to say. Eventually gets the car going again. Here we see Jeremy Piazza make his way by. It's David New who just came by him. Esteban is going to follow up soon. Losing quite a few positions here, the number 21 car, but at least now his car is no longer damaged. That's the most important part. Still a battle behind him going on. Obviously he can't get up to speed immediately, so he's just going to get his way out of there. Making sure he doesn't get into the way. I think that's the wise decision here. Especially because at this point, he wasn't really in the contention for anything after that disconnect anyway. So I think that's a great decision. Later on, we'll realize, hey, I actually have quite a bit of pace here. That is quite a nice move right there. And here then, maybe that's that move. It's going to be the number 21 car here trying to defend as much as that is possible here. Obviously, it's not that much time left here. That time will keep ticking away. Here we see quite the dive down the inside. A very successful, confident run through that corner. But obviously still now has to make his way out of the slipstream. Eventually we'll be able to do so. This battle will be going on for a while. And there's a mistake being made. There is, well, I was going to say maybe a little bit of contact too. That is not a good look here. Just not the way you want things to go. Yeah, these cars are incredibly fragile. Here we see driver exiting that pits. Very late in. We'll be able to rejoin the race. Trying to make his way out. This time it's actually clear. It's Leonardo Gonçalves we are talking about. And finds himself not quite far behind. A little bit later on, we're still aboard with him. Seems to be making his way through nicely and then loses the back end. And that will be not where you want to be facing yourself. Finds himself at the exit of the Tarzan corner. And then, oh, another spin. To make it even worse, losing even more time. Now has to be careful because their driver's coming through. Eventually, we'll be able to do so. And on the right, you can actually kind of see it. This is actually quite the interesting circuit because around it goes a all-terrain bike kind of course that you can actually do, as well as some beautiful hiking paths. So you can actually take a nice walk around here. Find yourself with the cars on the one side and the sea on the other, or at least the dunes. I think that's what makes this track so incredibly unique. And this is the number 1 driver. It's Conor R. Davies, and he loses control rather hard, and that is quite the damage right there. I can't imagine him going back. But yeah, he just has to pull over, get the car stopped in time. That is quite the damage right there. It looked even worse than our car in the beginning, I have to admit. Here we see an overtaking opportunity is David New and Isa Momeni. So close, and Woodhair's braking later. Well, there is that move. And I think very successful at that here. So, Isa Momeni makes his way by, moves up in position. David New can't do that, unfortunately. Here is Rolf Moosman currently in 3rd position here in this number 17 car. And spins. Does he touch the barrier here? Just about, but I think that was pretty minor. You gotta be careful if that spoiler doesn't produce the amount of downforce that you want. That can be quite a moment right there. And here is eventually going to be the final few corners coming out. And it will be, in the end, after quite a hard-fought battle, it's going to be Lee Whitewick to finish the race. Led it basically from the beginning after that overtake onto Janusz Senecki. And at the end, it worked out nicely here. Now we see that Janusz Senecki comes in behind in 2nd position. Still an awesome result, I have to say. But we're not done with the podium just yet, because here comes Rolf Moosman. So despite that small little incident in the, well, 2nd to last lap it was, he does make his way over to the finish in 3rd position. That's a nice podium, a hard-fought one, where he was struggling with the car at some point. But in the end, he managed to tame the beast, and that has now allowed him to move up nicely. Now let's look at the fastest lap that we have seen so far. It's going to be the qualifying lap from Janusz Senecki, 127.965 here. Makes his way through nicely. I already can see just how much that car is trying to push itself out. Obviously a little bit messy right there. But then in the end, gets on the throttle very confidently here, and that works out great. Now we're going to see some swings coming out here. Now to give you an idea, his time was at 27.9. The current record is set by Dennis Hauger. That was in the Formula 3 round of 2021. At 126.476. So quite the different still, but very much impressive how fast these drivers are getting already here. And as for now, this is all looking good. And, well, makes his way through nicely. All is looking clean so far. Now this right-hander, you got to be careful. The curb upsets the car quite a little bit, but you also got to make sure you cut in nicely. Get that exit right, because if you don't, you're going to lose a lot of time. And he manages rather nicely, I have to say. There it is now. It will be the final turn come up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure providing the commentary for you. I enjoyed this one, and if you did too, there's a video on screen. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.